Oh, hi. Good evening, everyone. We're gonna get started.
Good evening and welcome to the Hendrick Hudson Board of Ed meeting. If everybody could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. That's just what I need. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We are presently in session. I believe just to start out, we will just go directly to the retirement celebration. And Mr. Hofreiter, if you'd like to take her away.
Well, good evening and welcome, everyone, to a very exciting board meeting. We tinkered with the thought of having the boring, mundane business of the board take place first, so you guys would have to limp through it and then have the celebration at the end, but we cut you a break again. Tonight really is our first graduation, if you think about it. As we enter graduation season and emotions are all over the place, this really is a graduation of some fine adults who took a path working with students, working for the public and working in education that I bet when you started your careers in education, those jobs were perhaps much greater respected than for those who are starting in education today, sadly. If you think of the times and the policies and the politics of when you entered this field working for our school district, things were much different than they are now in terms of the attack on public education, the attack on public employees. However, it's events like tonight where we celebrate the careers, outstanding careers of many of our Hendrick Hudson sailors. This is what's right with our profession: commitment, dedication, and class in which all of you have served. So tonight we want to take a moment and honor all of those who have decided to end this particular chapter of their life and start writing a new one. It's exciting. It's an honorable moment. For me, I'm very jealous. I just hope the retirement system is still around in a couple years. And I'm serious about that. But I'd like to turn it over to our two assistant superintendents who are going to walk us through tonight's program and give us some stories and background and hopefully shed some light on the fantastic people who have served with grace and dignity in our hallways, on our school buses, and in our classrooms. So Dr. Alice Gottlieb to kick us off.
Thanks, Joe. No offense, guys, but I'm talking to the retirees. Well, here we are again at this momentous celebration, and every year, as I wish you well, I wonder why I'm not part of your crowd. And some of you are younger than I am, and all I can say for those of you who are retiring this year, please be somewhere good on the first day of school. You know that's my dream, to be on the beach, to be at the U.S. Open, to be somewhere extraordinary on the first day of school where you can't be for the past 38 years. So anyway, this is an exciting and wonderful night. I have to thank Fran for putting this all together and getting enough flowers, etc. So let's remember to thank Fran. But I'd like to start with our principal who's retiring. And I'm feeling a little teary at this moment. When I first came to this district, my mother said to me, doesn't she live in this district? And then it turns out that this cousin of mine who lives in the district is Helene's best friend. So I felt when I got here that, okay, somebody at least, there's a connection. And we've worked so well together all these years. And she works so hard and her school runs so well. So I'm a little sad, but come, we have presents for you. Helene has been the principal of Furnace Woods Elementary School for 18 years, and that's a long time to be a principal of an elementary school. So, nice. Okay, we are losing a social worker, which makes no sense to me. So Denise Angelo, after 22 years in our district, working nonstop with more kids than you could ever imagine. I never see her in that little room upstairs without kids, or doing a talent show, or doing every other thing in the world. So you will be missed, but congratulations and have fun. I know you have plans. So Colleen, I haven't been on your tour yet. So, Colleen has also been in our district, I believe, for 18 years, teaching social studies in the high school, doing some coaching as well, working on professional development for lots and lots of years, and leading what I understand is an amazing tour of Verplank. Yes, historical. So, should you decide to do a tour in retirement, please put me on your list.
You will be on the list, absolutely.
And thank you and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Mrs. Borges, Marion Borges, 32 years working in our district in various capacities. Marion is currently, and she's been a reading teacher in quite a few buildings, 3 since I've been here, I think. But most recently at BV, and really making a huge difference in teaching reading in that building. So it's, again, I'm not happy, but good for you. All right, Sue Schneider is in our book and is retiring at the end of this year, but couldn't be here tonight. So we wish her well, after 19 years teaching English in our high school. Okay, so Carolyn told a great story at the retirement dinner, the HHEA retirement dinner, and she listed 10 reasons why you know it's time to retire. So last Wednesday, I was in Mrs. Green's Market. Most of you probably don't know that in Mrs. Green's Market, Wednesday is Senior Day. They didn't ask me. They just gave me the discount. So you know it's time to retire when they give you the discount. Anyway, Carolyn. I was going to email you right away, but I thought I'd save it for tonight. Anyhow, Carolyn has worked so hard as a first-grade teacher and a reading teacher for many, many years in our district, and again, has made a huge difference in the lives of children at Frank G. Lindsay, and we thank you. Diane, I thought we were going to do this together. Diane Stevens. I always thought our year would be together, but you beat me. So anyway, Diane has been a counselor in our high school for 20 years, and is just always there, obviously, to talk to kids and to talk to parents, but also to talk to assistant superintendents who have questions.
That's
so,
true. That's true.
Yes.
And I've had a few,
Yeah,
my
over
career.
time. Yes.
as well as board members and principals and,
Yes.
all that.
Right. So, congratulations and have fun.
I will. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, so you giving up your roller skates, Mrs. Whipple? Barbara Whipple is our occupational therapist, has been at it for 20 years in the district, and I do mean the district. Every building, every day, every year in the district. She's working with kids. So, thank you. Okay, Mr. Catalan, you're on.
Good evening, everyone. It's very sad to hear that Nancy, 2 weeks ago, sends me an email and says I'm retiring, and I said, there's no way you're retiring. You can retire, but you're coming back. So It's great that she's retiring, but she's coming back. So, Nancy, we're glad that we'll see you through July. From the TAMA members, we have the president of the TAMA members. So I don't know with whom I'm going to negotiate the next year, but I'm sure it's going to be a lot harder because Linda was always great as a teacher aide, as a union president. Linda. And I'm sorry, I forgot to say how many years these two great ladies have worked for the district. Nancy Human, 27 years. So. And Linda, 21 years. I don't know how to count, and I make the money here. Oh my God. Now we know why we're in big trouble. Sorry. Also, retiring tonight is Jerry Brown. Jerry has been a great teacher aide in the high school, and we're going to miss Jerry tremendously. Jerry, hopefully you've been here only 16 years. Yeah, thank God. Finally, from the TAMA members, but a great lady with 18 years in the district is Diane Rondo. Diane has been in Furnace Woods most of this time, and I'm sure that all of Furnace Woods will miss Diane tremendously. Diane, come here. She couldn't attend. I'm sorry, but thank you. And now I want Anthony Merlini to come here so he helped me with the rest of the people that are going to retire or have retired during the year. The first one that wasn't able to be here was Denise Dini. Denise Dini has been in the district for 33 years, the last 6 as our head driver. Thanks to Denise, we have children on time, ready to go to school every single day. So Denise, thank you.
All right, our next one, and he couldn't be here as well, is Brian Willett. Brian's been a custodian driver. He worked on the outside crew. He came here. He was a mechanic. He's been here. He was here for 25 years. Did a lot of work throughout the district. Helped me personally in my job, in my position. He worked with the Lake Mohegan Fire Department. He worked with the Volunteer Ambulance Corps. He was very involved in safety of the kids, getting the kids here on time, and everything that he had to do, he went the extra mile, in my opinion. So I'd like to thank Brian for all his work here, all his dedicated years of service, and I think he was an asset here to the district.
And finally, I want to talk about a special person. A person, when I came here, my secretary Diane, who's not a little chicken, tells me that there's a custodian here that was my driver when she was in kindergarten. And I'm like, Diane, you are not a little girl. And I'm like, okay, who's this person? And then I met Bobby Williams. Bobby Williams is that person. Bobby Williams has been an asset to this district for 44 years. Come here, Bobby. Thank you for everyone who retires today or retired during the year. We all thank you for all your hard work. Bobby, say something.
I'm not start for words, but I've been here for more years than when I first came here. But I like the job. I like the children that I take from school, and most when I first started I had late bus. That's when the bus would, Blue Mountain was late dismissing, and so it was. I went through. It was a whole change of because the Blue Mountain 9 is dismissed around about 2:45 or so. But anyway, the district had changed, and I enjoyed driving, and some of my coworkers used to ride my bus, and also when I did the tech run, they came and started to work for the school district. And I was kind of hoping I'd never see them again, but when you have a tech run, and a lot of the individuals, sometimes they don't want to go to school, but they tend to want to act up so I can turn the bus around. So, but besides all of those, I still enjoy seeing them, but I don't want them to go through the same that I went through with others because they did. Sometimes they did some things that wasn't right. So anyway, I thank everybody for giving me this a nice applause, ovation, and I'm proud to be here in this school district, and that's why I'm here so long, because I enjoy getting up in the morning and seeing the same kids, and they enjoy being with me. And it's one couple incident, and that one of the parents came on there and said, I used to take my kids to school, and they want to ride your bus all the time. And so what you do to, they want to ride the bus? I say, they have, when they come on the bus, they know that it's set near the front, that way nobody aggravate them or bother them. So, but the idea is that they want to be with other kids to enjoy, and so when they, so but I just a little size, but thank you for.
Thank you very much. That basically, it's not the end of the board meeting, but it does conclude our retirement celebration. So if you choose to leave now, be your chance. I would, however, like to say, though, to all the retirees, thank you very much for your service, and we wish you the best. I guess I should dismiss them afterwards. We're going to move the agenda around just a little bit so that we can put the really important stuff up ahead, and that would be honoring our students for doing extraordinary things. And in particular, this evening, we will be recognizing Christina Kennedy and Gracie Aronson for their work on the behalf of the Partners Program. And
Yes.
I know Mrs. Miller is here, and she will tell us all about it.
Yeah, go ahead, Alice.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thought this was going down.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I love this magazine. Okay, so it gives me huge pleasure to introduce Mrs. Miller, who will talk about these extraordinary young ladies. I watched them in action a couple of weeks ago at the Partners Dinner, and they're in high school, and they just keep coming back. So that's extraordinary. One thing we didn't do, Mrs. Miller and I laughed. We were going to give applications to all the retirees to join the Partners Group, and we didn't have them.
My fault.
So we're sending them.
Thank you. Thank you very much. First off, I want to thank the board and the district for realizing how fabulous these young ladies are and for letting us have this opportunity to honor them at this meeting. Gracie and Christina have been partners. Now, first off, the Partners Program is a program where our middle school students partner with senior citizens from our district or from our area or just friends of ours, and we get together to share different experiences, different stories, different passions, and it's truly a group that bridges the generation gap. Well, these young ladies have been partners since they were in 6th grade, let's say 6, even though it's, and, right, 7? No, 6, okay, I do have it right. And they're sophomores in high school now. A few years ago, I realized I can't do this job on my own. And even if I had another teacher assistant to help me run the program, it wasn't getting done correctly. In walks Christina and Gracie. They are able to put together the entire program, call and alert all of our members, on the phone with people. They know all about their families, about their ails and aches and pains. They know about their joys, their celebrations. They are able to get rides for seniors to come back and forth to the school. They create the activities that we do. They are involved in our community service work. They put so much love and care and support and time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears into this program. We just had to recognize how fabulous they are. And I'm just so sorry right now that the retirees aren't here to see this, because it is truly a testament to our district and our teachers and our retirees, because look what we have. We have 2 phenomenal girls that are just, you know, they're a product of our district. They're a product of our schools. They're a product of our teachers. And they are doing amazing things now, and they're going to be doing even more amazing things. By the way, I'd like to homeschool them for college, if that's all right with you guys. Okay, thank you. Because the program as it is could not exist without them. Now, I want to invite some of our seniors up and one of our current partners. First, we'll start with Gracie's sister, Sammy Aronson. Would you do me a favor and let us know from your perspective?
Hi, I'm Samantha Aronson, Gracie's younger sister. People say that if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. With this definition, Gracie and Christina didn't work at all for this program. Given they put a ton of time while calling and emailing everyone on the weekends, pacing around our house, but they never had to work because they genuinely love the program. They know everybody's names, kids and partners, and know random facts such as favorite color and what town they grew up in. These two deserve all the credit they get, plus more. They really are extraordinary girls, and I don't say that about my sister lightly. They do much more than stand around and entertain while we're waiting for a movie from someone that has food poisoning, or waiting for snacks to arrive to the library after school in one of our meetings. They do all the calling, planning, and coordinating behind the scenes. They honestly love the program, and it shows. I'm so very proud of Christina and Gracie tonight, and every time I see them open a door for a partner or have a smile on their face when one of the 6th grade boys is not quite cooperating. Congrats, guys.
Thank you. This is Rhoda Stevens. She is a former Hen Hud teacher and one of our favorite seniors, as we have a few other. Oh,
It's all right.
okay.
I've shrunk a little bit. I just decided when I parked the car here that I wanted to say a few things. I think you have covered everything about these girls. They're wonderful. And now I would just like to say that their parents have done a yeoman's job. They are their first teachers, and they are their continuing teachers, and you have instilled them with values that are just remarkable. And I also have to say to the school board and administrators, you have some great teachers in the district too, because from kindergarten until now, the things that they have taught these children, but also taught them to think on their own, and they've really gone outside the box. They're wonderful, and they need to be recognized. Thank you.
Donna Miller asked me to say a few words about these wonderful young ladies, and I think everybody has already said a few words about these wonderful young ladies. I'm here because I'm a senior now. At least that's what I've been told. And when I retired 3 years ago, from the Hen Hud School District, I decided that I wanted to give back to my community, so I joined the Partners Program, and I'm very happy that I did. When Donnie asked me to say a few words, I thought, that's great. I'm a senior. All I can remember is a few words. But I did take a few notes just to help me out. When I met these beautiful young girls, it was 3 years ago when I joined the program. They were little 8th graders, and they were part of the program. And then they left and went on to high school. And they made a promise to Donna that they would come back and help us all out. Well, that promise became a serious, dedicated commitment for Gracie and Christina. In other words, they took the ball and they ran with it. They not only became beautiful young ladies on the outside, but also on the inside. They not only became helpers, but leaders. As everybody said, their efforts have been immeasurable. They made phone calls, emails, arranged transportation, scheduling events, planning events, and they've done all of it with enthusiasm, energy, and a smile. They're not only compassionate with the seniors, but understanding with the middle school population. With Donna's help, or Donna with their help, has brought the Senior Partners Program to what it is today, a wonderful addition to our school district and our community. We always talk about staff in this district going the extra mile. I'd like to say that Christina and Gracie have both gone the extra mile, and they've done all of it from the heart. Thank you.
For those of you who don't know, the Partners Program started out with maybe about 10 seniors and 10 students. Right now, we have about 30 seniors and 85 students in the program. And it can't be done without these young ladies. So we want to thank you very much. Did you want to say something?
Gracie and I are actually not great at speech giving. We wing it at most of the meetings, and we will continue to do so now. But we'd start off with thanking the board and the district, and of course Mrs. Miller for giving us this opportunity and this honor. And I'd actually like to point out the fact that Gracie and I only started this not only because of Mrs. Miller, but because my older sister did the same exact thing. And she led us in this path, and she can't be here right now, but I'm sure she's laughing at me, thinking that she got this award a few years ago as well, thinking, haha, I beat you. But we'd like to thank everyone and just say that we really do appreciate this program, and it has made a difference in the way we grew up.
We'd also like to thank all the partners and all of the students and everyone that just comes out to the meetings and everyone who makes us laugh, and it just makes Tuesdays our favorite day of the week because we honestly love seeing everyone and calling you guys on Sunday afternoons and hearing all about your weeks and everything that goes along with the program. So we can't thank you enough.
Christine and Gracie, we'd like to thank you. And we thank you for your efforts. I mean, a lot of kids do. They get to 8th grade and they're like, okay, but you guys stayed with it. And I think the fact you said you followed your sister, I don't think you stand a chance, Sammy. They actually got you up here to talk about her, so you're sort of on the way. And I know that it's very important to your family, the volunteerism, because I've also seen you at other events. I know that you're very involved with the State Wake-a-thon, and I know you've made those efforts, and I thank you because that's what I've heard on behalf, you do us proud, and we thank you so much for that. And I know your parents are more than proud. I remember your mom talking about you when you were like so little, and it hasn't changed. So thank you very much. There you go. We're not going to make you save the rest.
Also, Mrs. Miller,
Oh,
thank
I'm
you,
sorry.
yes.
Unless you want to, of course.
Mrs. Miller, thank you. They just told me how rude I was by not thanking you. And you have to know what I think of you and your program, and from the heart, thank you very much for all your efforts. But thank you for doing it, for going above and beyond, always. Thank you. Okay. There's, you'll notice there's the second, where we were going to honor Dylan Gambardella, and he will be, we were not prepared for the slideshow that he was prepared to give us. So we are going to move him till 2 weeks from today. We will see his presentation on the 25th. So for those of you who wanted that, come back. That brings us to basically our regular agenda, and if I can, it's the real boring stuff. So if I can just get a motion to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any items you would like pulled?
Did you pull the two fiscal?
Well, I'm asking you right now, which ones did you want? The fiscal?
Two fiscal Siemens solar and the high school, the 2013, 2014. Exactly what it's called.
The work-based learning proposal.
Work readiness program.
Okay, so we have those two. Are there any other items that anybody would like pulled?
No.
Okay, so those two items are the, can I get a motion to approve all items that were not pulled from the consent agenda?
So
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so that brings us to the two fiscals, fiscal 4.2, the work-based learning proposal application.
Yeah, could you just describe it a little bit and talk about the shift from, the shift toward this program, why we're adopting this program? I think we've had another program in place, but what's the logic and reasoning behind going to this program?
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about it and then turn it over to Alice for the history. This is, work-based learning is an accredited program from the state that essentially allows us to give elective credit for legitimate internship experiences and providing opportunities for high school kids to be on job sites and learn what they think they want to do or identify certain fields as not something they want to do. We're moving in this direction so that there's a little more legitimacy to our internship program. And so there's a hook for kids to say, if you step up and step out and spend part of your day or your summer or weekends or evenings interning and learning different skills or trades or identifying what you think you want to do, there's credit out there. So there's some teeth. We did some research when we met with folks from the high school, and this jogged their memory of previous conversations that were had years ago. Alice dug through some of the minutes of different committee meetings, and we found that this course was approved through IMC and just never made its way to the Board of Education. When we looked at the timing of when all of this happened, it was during some tough financial times, and the board was wrestling with cuts and layoffs, and they didn't feel that was the right time to move forward. So this is an updated version. We dusted it off and made it a little more relevant and are seeking board approval, and I'll let Alice take it from there.
The difference of existing internships that we have is this is part of a state-certified career technology program. So it comes with a credential, and it's yet another way for kids to enter the workforce and go to college with a state-recognized credential. And it can start early. You grab kids in middle school when they have plenty of time to take paths. If these paths are in the arts or if they're in math or in science, there's a goal, and it's great for middle schoolers to see a reason for the efforts they're putting into their work. So Maura Koch has been working on this for quite a while, and it was pretty sad, years back when we had this proposal and then had no money. So here we are with grant money and ready to roll. So Maura, thank you. And it's exciting.
And I saw in the proposal that it's aligned to Common Core learning standards, or parts of it are.
Absolutely. In that, Common Core is supposed to get kids career and college ready, and this is another look. It's just another look of getting kids ready for the next step.
And so in the first year, there's 28 kids can be accepted. How will it ramp up?
Do you want to
after
come
this?
answer these technical questions, Maura? Maura, did you do this as part of your internship?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. See, this was in the plans for years.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
Hi, thank you. The work-based learning program is like it's described, a New York State program approved. We applied to New York State for the approved credit. And the students will do, at minimum, 108 hours of internship work, doing job shadowing, placed with an employer. 54 hours are going to be in class. They would, the model might be we would meet for the first quarter as a class, preparing them for the work site. And then they would move onto the work site and then meet every Friday. The model is, much similar to how WISE might work, except that it is a full-year program. And working with the schedule, it would be scheduled so that the students would be, it would be at the end of the day, so that when they do go out to the work site, 8th or 9th period, they would be going to the work site during those last periods of the day. We're opening it to 28 students, the class limit, and we have had students very much interested in applying what they're learning in the classroom in the workplace. And with a little bit of guidance and, a lot of, study in their, typical fields, they will do that. So.
Are these paid internships or?
No, they're not paid internships.
Now, do you do training to prepare the businesses to have an internship? Training to prepare the businesses to have an intern?
Well, I think there's a conversation both ways. Beginning like Alice had spoken about in middle school, we are hopefully reaching out to industry, all different types of sciences, to be able to, kind of give us too, as educators, what skills are really needed right now in the workplace. And yes, we will be working on those, we're preparing them for workplace skills actually in the course. So if there's safety in the workplace, they're going to have to, be kind of certified in that before they get it. We talk about, how they get paid, but they won't be getting paid, but typical financial management type skills, career readiness skills, workplace readiness skills.
So this is going to be similar to the WISE program, but with more extended hours, and I would take it with more very definitive steps that the students have to follow.
Right. Did I just lose my, no, okay. Yes, and with each business, we will, each partner, we will have a memorandum of agreement, just much like WISE. The students will have a contract. There will be a learning plan that the students need to follow. There will be, portfolios that the students will need to construct, and reflective times for the student to be able to reflect both, in group and also in journal. So they'll be preparing themselves, much similar to the way, WISE did run.
And how this fits in the big scheme of things is our work and networking with our business community to identify what, as Morris said, what the emerging trends and needs are. Our work is to tailor our electives and our core program into the academy setting with STEM, business, entrepreneurship, and the arts, and recruit partners to advise us on curriculum and expectations, and to identify which of the partners would end up taking students as a capstone experience. So beginning in 6th and 7th grade, we're not just talking about careers in general, we're talking about pathways in our high schools that could lead to this exact experience, which is credit bearing, has the endorsement from the state, and really creates a little more legitimacy in the state's eyes.
Okay. Sounds wonderful.
It's exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Can I get a motion to approve this new program?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. That brings us to our second, which would be the Siemens Solar Photovoltaic Renewable Energy Project.
I just was curious, Enrique, in the letter of intent, it mentioned the financial criteria that were presented in the preliminary. Could you just kind of describe those a little bit, like what Siemens is?
Sure. The idea started 3 or 4 years ago when we started talking at the EPC about the EPC. But back then, solar panels were very expensive and not economically viable. Over the last 3 years, technology has advanced so much that at this point, Siemens came and proposed us to produce around 20% of the energy that we consume, the electrical energy, by putting on solar panels in our roofs. The idea is basically that at no cost, Siemens will come and set the solar panels in our roofs, and then they will sell us the net energy produced to us at a discount to what we budget from NIPA today. This is the only way that we can structure it because this is a 20-year commitment, and the only way that we will know that no matter what, it's going to be cheaper for us to buy that electricity is if the price that we're paying to NIPA, we get a price below that, today, in 10, and in 20 years. So that's the idea. The idea is for them to set all the solar panels, maintain them, insure the roofs, do everything, and they will be a supplier of energy to us. In the summer, for example, where probably is when we can produce more solar electricity and we don't use it because the students are not here, we will sell that production to the market, so we will only pay during the year the net consumption.
So you just mentioned we'll structure it so that we're buying it at a discount all the time. We're not going to set up a fixed price for 20 years. It'll be a discount from the NIPA price.
I will never do it on a set price because we don't know what the cost of kilowatt hour is going to be next month. Forget about in 20 years. So today is about 10 cents, and what it looks like if they tell us 5 cents, can it be a great deal today? Maybe in 20 years there's a new technology that will be 1 cent and we'll be losing money. So that's the only way that we're sure that it's going to be cost effective for us.
Okay, thank you.
Comfortable? Can I get a motion to approve the agenda item for the letter of intent for Siemens Industry?
I'll do it.
Thank you. All in favor? That brings us to completes the agenda. Brings us to our donations. There are quite a few. We have, I'm just going to do it as a group. We have Models. We have HHCE. Models is where they do the team week. They do the HHCEF. Teach did donation to assist the funding in Teach Yourself Fridays and the Science Research Symposium newsletter for the high school. The BVPTA donated for the cost of arts and ed, which would be their cultural enrichment and such. A donation from a parent in Furnace Woods for a matching grant from the New York Life. There is also the donations for the Transportation Personnel Appreciation Week, the Furnace Woods PTA, a donation for Traverse Wall, and finally a donation from the Blue Mountain Middle School to cover the expense for the Saturday Academy, which is test preparation for the state assessment test for children who, might need that extra time. So if I can get a motion to approve all of these donations in one fell swoop. Thank you. I'd like to thank all the individuals who are making the effort to, on our behalf, and contributing to enhance the opportunities here for our children. These, all together adds up to be an awful lot. So thank you. That brings us to audience comments. Okay. That would bring us to our superintendent's report.
Okay. Well, just a couple updates for everyone. Two items regarding transportation. We are interviewing again next week to fill our transportation supervisor vacancy. We're trying to get those interviews scheduled next week, and if we can find the right candidate and references check out, we may have an appointment by June 25th, our next board meeting. Our transportation audit is ongoing. We had our consultant in the district yesterday, and today, who's looking at routes and looking at existing policies and looking at opportunities to advise us, not only administratively, but ultimately as a board, with opportunities to cut costs, save money, become more efficient. Look at that. That's a big dog.
Stops everybody.
Thought it was a
It's a
bear on a leash.
They have two of them, I think.
I met Marion's dog, and that one was a little bigger. So we'll have some more concrete updates and information on the audit going forward. We had a great event last week. We kicked off our instructional technology coaching training. I'm not sure exactly what we're calling it. I know Charles will touch on it a little bit later during committee reports, but it comes full circle to really this group, the board, where you committed support in the bond for increasing instructional technology capacity in our district, which the voters supported in December overwhelmingly. In our general budget, you increased some staff development lines to make sure and essentially mandate that we have high caliber training and support to use the instructional technology. That was overwhelmingly supported by the community. And so we kicked off the training last week for a full day, working with some of our most dynamic teachers who use instructional technology effectively and efficiently, to use them as a voice of support and a voice of mentoring to our staff. So we're going to have additional training and opportunities over the summer, and I won't steal Charles' thunder. I'll let him speak a little bit about that later in the meeting. But a great event. And I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. That would bring us again at this point to our committee reports. I know that we've had some. We've had, IMC, Reed, Finance, and Charles's the technology report. Where would we like to start?
I can start with IMC.
Perfect.
Actually, we had a meeting and we were discussing the direction that IMC should be heading in, and I think we all had decided under Alice's guidance to kind of go more in the direction of writing for next year and looking at that and the Common Core. We slightly diversified for a while and got into a presentation on library, and that was very interesting. We talked about basically where the library program is and what skills our children seem to be falling a little bit short on, and where their strengths are in the program. And I think for next year, we kind of decided that we're going to center on the writing process. Am I correct?
We're looking at how we're integrating the Common Core writing standards,
Right.
K-12. And we're going to ask, we're looking very specifically at, the kinds of writing and how it's being taught in each grade level to make sure that we're addressing all the standards and it makes sense.
And that was IMC.
What did we call them, Joe? The Integrated Technology Coaches session was a full-day session, and it was very interesting. I sat in on a couple of hours of it and was in and out. What was very interesting was the earnest conversation among a bunch of people, very smart people, about how to convince everybody in their building to use these technologies that we're investing in to their fullest capability, and how to bring along the people who are really not interested in using it, but we have to get them up to speed. And how do you bring people up to speed and use it to the fullest capability? And so the small group conversations intermixed with Karen Young of A+ Communicators, demonstrating different programs that they had or different tools that they have, and it worked really well for them to go back and forth and learn about this. And then a conversation for about 2 hours about how do you schedule, how do you get people, how do you schedule within the group to learn about things, how do you schedule within the building to get people to use it, you know, and those kind of things. And so I think one of the things they ended up talking about was one-on-one coaching, and that might be the best way to sit down and interview each person in the building. How do you use it? What do you do now? How do you use it? And where can it go from? And it was a very good conversation to sit in and listen. And I do have to mention one thing. They did talk, comment to Joe that they really appreciated him staying the day and watching it and listening to everything that they were learning too. So that was a good, you know, and we brought in all the administrators in the morning. Dr. Gottlieb with the office building administrators, so they could sit through and listen to it. That was a very good start, so I appreciate all the hard work that was letting into it.
Yeah, a big theme coming out of that discussion, and I think is one that warrants a whole lot of conversation going forward, is the four-letter word time. Time, when do we do, when can we train, so on and so forth. The research on staff development would tell you during the instructional day when people's minds are sharp and there are kids in the room, so you can collaboratively coach and give feedback in the normal school day. You bring people together for 2 hours after school, they're spent, they're thinking about their evening, they're thinking about the papers to grade, the parents to call. And I think moving forward to have a focused conversation on how we look at our school calendar, how we look at our superintendent's conference days. There are school districts who very strategically throughout the year, or even throughout every month, have early release days. They're not necessarily half days, but they're kind of three-quarter days, where at 2 o'clock you may dismiss, or at 1:30, but it's scheduled, it's predictable, and over time becomes part of the district's culture, and you're able to capture, over the course of a year, a week's worth of staff development where people's brains are sharp and they're, you know, they're in their work environment. You know, we have a half a day dedicated to staff development the day before the first day of school. You know, we're wiping the sand out of our eyes because we've been sleeping in for 10 weeks. So it was a great conversation, and I think the theme moving forward in terms of supporting our staff on instruction and making sure we're just not implementing the Common Core, but that we are teaching to our fullest extent is going to be how we use time as a resource. Good.
I also just wanted to say one other thing that I was very happy to observe. I believe it was Alexandra Greenberg, who is working with our teachers in the area of math and the Common Core math program. And she was very complimentary on the progress that our district has made and how far ahead we seem to be in the county. And, you know, I guess she goes around to different districts and works with different districts, and she felt our district was in a very good place, more than good. You know, she was really very complimentary. And our teachers as well have given such positive feedback about utilizing her and being, you know, invested in this training. So I thank you for bringing her into the district and, you know, having our teachers feel as good as they do.
She said she's using us as a model.
Yes, she did.
In the region, and she's been in 17 districts in southern and northern Westchester this year. Yeah, it's nice. So we'll see if it works.
So Carol going to do finance?
I don't think there's really. No, I wasn't going to do finance. I was actually going to add to technology. I had the opportunity to go to Yorktown to see how they have integrated Chromebooks into their teaching throughout the middle school, which was very interesting. And I'm sure we'll stimulate discussion in the future about whether we want to do that as well or not. I'm sure you guys will be talking about it in technology as well. So that was a very interesting experience to see how another school is using computers in their classrooms.
I think that's great because it can only help to understand how the people are using it as well. So that brings us, our committees, that brings us to another audience comments. All right. So then that would bring us to new business board comments. One of the topics that just have come up in the past couple of weeks that I would like to address just this evening would be questions about residency. We've had questions about basically when a student, if a student is at one school and their family moves within district, what the policy would be. And I think it's important that we start having the conversation so that the policy committee can take it from there and start incorporating these ideas and these thoughts into the policy that's created. We do have an out-of-district, but we don't have in-district. And it does, it's something that children need to know, like, if they want to finish up in the school that they started, if they're allowed, what the rules and, such are, and what the parents can, perhaps what their obligation is going to be for that, so.
Yeah, the interest is to create a standard, which is why you have policies, and I'll let Roseanne chime in here shortly. Yeah, right, you're going to be on TV, you're on TV. But we've been dealing with scenarios where families move during the year, and it's always a judgment call of whether you stay in the school that you started that year because now you know your teacher and the routines and those sort of things, or do you rip the tape off and go to your new school because that's where you're going to be. But it's hard to move mid-year. You can sit on both sides of the fence. What we have been doing from a district office standpoint is we've been using the criteria of policy 5152, which speaks to non-resident students. When students leave our district mid-year and move to Croton or Peak School or where have you. We have then come to find out that some families who may not know to call Roseanne or me or any of my predecessors will talk to their principal and say, hey, principal so-and-so, we just bought a house from this school district or this elementary zone to another one. Can we stay and finish? Oh, you can stay and finish. And you know what? Next year you'll be in 5th grade, so you can stay in 5th grade too because, boy, you've been here 6 years and you know the systems and everything. So Roseanne and I had headaches last week when we realized that we're a little all over the board. And when we pulled the policy, we realized we didn't have a policy that spoke to internal movement, in-district movement. We have a really nice policy about non-resident students. And we have to have that policy because we're talking about financial impact in terms of tuition, so on and so forth.
By non-resident, though, we mean people who've been in our district and moved towards the end, just to finish it, not people that are,
Like mid-senior year.
Correct, or, but it's not, it's. For example. Exactly, but it's people who actually live here. It's not people from Peekskill or Croton or whatever who just chose to come here, so.
So I don't know if you want to weigh in on the history and.
She puts a microphone on.
Speak up.
Well,
Hello?
the past practice has always been whether they move from elementary area to elementary area or out of the district altogether, we used that policy. That if you moved mid-year, if you moved in your 5th grade year, you can absolutely stay. If you move in your 8th grade year, you can absolutely stay, and 12th grade year. When you move from elementary, we used the same rule. If you moved in the 5th grade year, you can finish out in that school, and then you'll go to middle school. The situation we've had is we gave special permission to some families. Oh, you're in the end of 4th, you can finish your 4th grade year, as long as you provide transportation. And then now they're coming back and saying, well, now my child's in 5th grade, so we think he could stay. And that's not been our policy.
So we need to establish something that's more concrete and this is.
Some of these students.
We always thought it was, but I
But
guess.
some people, I think, have been in the past allowed to stay in 5th grade. If
And
that
I
was the case, I know when I was teaching, that was, some children were allowed to stay. Not necessarily the siblings, that was a whole different thing, but.
Right, but I think it never got to the district level, and I think that's why,
But I think we need to
the
establish
principals
something
had
Right.
a different.
And that's, I think, the problem.
Are any of these families the ones from when BV was on the not good list?
No, these are just families that have purchased in another area or rented.
So if
in
you
another-
purchase a house, let's
Now,
say, in Furnace Woods, as opposed
We had an
to.
informal policy around that. if parents wanted to go back.
But that's
we never-
different than
That's not the
this.
same thing.
I mean, it
It's-
was
this
kind
is
of a-
with the removal.
And with school, that was school choice, and under the umbrella of school choice, that was actually state law, which would usurp anything the board would do. And that came from No Child Left Behind. So really, what we have uncovered are, you know, what's the policy? Well, it depends who you ask. So we're trying to, you know, bring everything back together to formalize it, and therefore communicate it with consistency, so everyone, not only our staff, but families know. You know, I get it. I just bought a house. I'm able to close at the end of the year. If I had children, it would work out for me. But, you know, you move when you can move. You buy a house when you buy a house, and you close on it when you close on it. But there are a lot of different either interpretations or deals out there. And Barbara was one person we talked to who had different experiences. So really what